Hi, this is Professor Miller with St. Petersburg College, and I am demonstrating the Word2 project for the CGS1100 course. We are using Microsoft Office 2016. The skills I'm demonstrating are making modifications to an existing document by changing the margins, applying a document theme and color, changing our font size and line spacing and paragraph spacing, applying specific styles and modifying styles, applying borders and shadings, using the tab stop, and applying and modifying a multi-level list, inserting page breaks, and using a built-in page number. With my document open in Microsoft Word, I am going to start with step 3 and find the Margins button on the Layout tab. Margins is in the far right, and I'm going to select Custom Margins, and I'm going to change the left to 0.75 and the right to 0.75. Notice that I am not changing anything about the top or bottom. For step 4, I'm going to go to the Design tab and select Themes, and the theme I'm going to select is Integral or Integral. The theme controls the colors and the fonts available. Further, I'm going to select my theme colors, and I'm going to scroll down and select the one called Aspect at the very bottom. So those are the colors that are available to me within the project. For step 5, I'm going to press Control A and go back to the Home tab, and I'm going to set my font size to 11. With everything still selected, I'm going to go to my paragraph box and the line and paragraph spacing icon and go to line spacing options. And I'm going to select the line spacing as single, and the after paragraph spacing, I'm going to use the up arrow to 0.6. And I'm going to click OK. Step 6, I'm going to select Contractor's Insurance Questionnaire at the top of my document. And on the Home tab in the Styles section, I'm going to select the title style. Then I'm going to select Please carefully read and understand that paragraph. And on page 2, step 6D, I'm going to select the book title style. For applicant's instructions, I'm going to select the intense quote style. Now I'm going to go back to that intense quote style. Actually, I'm going to select that also for the insurance application disclaimer on page 2. I'm going to go down and also select the intense quote style. And then I'm going to go to the styles again, and I'm going to right click on the intense quote style and select modify. I'm going to change the font size to 12. This is step 7. And then I'm going to go down to the format button in the lower left-hand corner. You may not be able to see it, and select paragraph. And I'm going to change the left and right indent to 0. So I just changed that 0.65 to 0 in both boxes. And I click OK. Notice that my only on this in this document radio button is checked, and I'm going to click OK. And you see that what happened is those two that were selected as that style moved over and the fonts are larger. We're now on step 8. So on the second page, I'm going to go down to the first 3 paragraphs after insurance application disclaimer. So I want to select the paragraphs that start with the undersigned, the applicant, and notwithstanding. And I'm going to go to the borders section, which is this little box that looks like a window pane. And I'm going to go down to the bottom and select borders and shading, and that brings up this dialog box. And I'm going to select the custom setting in the far left. In the style area, I want the solid line, which is already selected. In the width area, I'm going to select 1 point. And in the color area, I'm going to select orange accent 1 from the theme colors. Notice that in the preview area, I need to come over here and select the left and right to get it to show up in my preview. And I only want the left and the right. See how they turn blue? And I'm applying it to the paragraph. That's the end of page 2. And I'm on step 8I. And I'm going to click Options. And I'm going to change the left and right setting from 4-point to 5-point by using the up arrows. I could also type them in. And I'm going to click OK. And then I'm going to go to the Shading tab on my Borders and Shading dialog box. And I'm going to select from the Fill Color drop-down list. I'm going to go to that orange accent 1, but I want the lightest one in the ombre list in that column, the 80%, lighter 80%. And you can see my preview again, and I click OK. And I have applied step 8 to my document. Now we're going to select name and title of insured, signature of insured, and date of application. And I'm going to go to the paragraph launcher box, this little box in the lower right-hand corner of the paragraph box. And then I'm going to go down to the bottom left and click Tab. Oh, I'm going to change the before spacing to 12-point. Then I'm going to click Tabs in the lower right-hand corner. My tab stop position is 7. I'm not changing the default tab stop of 0.5. I'm going to come down to the alignment and I'm going to click the right radio button. And then I'm going to select the leader of 4, which is a solid underline. And then I'm going to click Set. And then I'm going to click OK. And when I do that, notice that all it did was put some space in. When I come and I put my cursor next to the word insured and press the tab button, I now have a nice underline for them to fill in the blanks. I do the same thing with signature of insured, and I do the same thing with date of application. And that is the end of step 9. So I'm going to save what I have and move on to step 10. And we're going to select the lines of text starting with the word applicant. And notice that I'm selecting in the left margin by dragging down, and I'm going to drag all the way down to the last, if yes, please explain. So what I have selected is from applicant on page 1 all the way down to just before the insurance application disclaimer. Then on the Home tab, I'm going to select from the multi-level list button in the paragraph box, and I want to select the one that is 1 parenthesis A parenthesis I parenthesis option. And now I have 40 items, and I'm going to go back to that multi-level list, and I'm going to go down to define new multi-level list to bring this up, and that brings me to page 4 and step 10D, of my instructions, and I'm going to click Set for All Levels. And the bullet number position is 0, and the text position for the first level is 0.3. I'm going to use the up arrow, and the additional indent level is 0.3. So what that's going to do is have it indent a little bit more than the default. And then I click OK. We still have 40 items. I'm going to scroll to the top of my list, and I want to go to the first place where it says if yes, which is step 13, and I'm going to increase the indent by hitting this increase indent button. And when I do that, notice that that if yes becomes A, and the next step becomes step 13. I'm going to go down to the next if yes, increase the indent, and go all the way through my document, increasing the indent on all the if. And I'm just finding the ones that say if and going through my document and hitting the increase indent. And it says I should have 28 numbers, so I might have gone too far. I did. So I'm going to decrease the indent. So I should have 28 items. Now we're on to step 12. I'm going to save what I did. And in step 12, I'm going to select this entire multi-level list. And again, I'm using the left margin, but I'm doing it from the bottom to the top this time, just because that happens to be where I am. And I'm going to go back into my paragraph launcher, and we're going to set tabs again. And I want to make sure that this box "Don't add space between paragraphs" is not selected, which it's not. Then I'm going to click on tabs in the lower left again, type 7, the right radio button. I'm not changing the default tab stops at all. And I'm going to click 4, the solid underline, and I'm going to click Set and OK. Now I need to go through my entire list and put in my tabs. So I'm just going to go down my list and put in my tabs all the way through. Whoop, got carried away there. Make sure you're only doing it at the end of each line. I know it's a little tedious, but it doesn't take too long, and it makes our form much easier for a user to fill out. All right, and that is the end of page 4. And we're going to save the document. I can click File and Save. Then I'm going to insert a page break. We're on step 14 of 18. So I'm going to put my cursor before the number 22, because you see how 22 and 22A are on 2 different pages. And I'm going to go to Insert, and all the way to the right is Pages, and I'm going to click Page Break. Now I can't see that page break, but if I want to see it, I can use my show hide paragraph marker, and you can see that it actually says page break there. Step 15, we're going to go to the very top of the document. You can do that by pressing Control Home. And then we're going to go to the Insert tab and Header and Footer and Page Number. And in this, we're going to select Bottom of Page, and we want to select the one that's called Bold Numbers 3. So I have to scroll down my list until I find Bold Numbers 3, which is page X of Y, basically. And that puts it in the footer. And again, if I turn my paragraph markers on, you can see that there's an extra line there. So if I either hit backspace or delete, well, if I hit backspace, it gets rid of that extra line. And I'm going to click out of the header and footer so that I'm not in it anymore. I'm going to turn my paragraph markers off, and you can see that this is my document. The last thing that I always do before I turn it in is go to the Review tab and do a spell check. I have one grammatical error that it points out, and I'm not going to change that, so I'm going to ignore once, and everything else is good. So I'm going to go to File and Print and look at my document so I can see that it's got 2 pages there, and I can actually see that it looks like it needs to look to be turned in, so I'm all done with this assignment.